Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers shut out the Detroit Red Wings by a score of 4-0, but the star of the game by far was Jonathan Quick, making all 37 saves on the 37 shots recorded by the Red Wings. So Rangers did not really play particularly well in this game, which is disappointing coming off of a really poor showing against the Sabres just a couple of nights ago. But Jonathan Quick has just been magnificent. And he's 3-0 this season in his 3 starts. And yeah, this is a continuation from last season where he was just a very steady, reliable backup for someone that's accomplished so much in his career. This is a, surefire Hall of Famer who has already won multiple Stanley Cups and is someone that you feel pretty good about when Shesterkin's not in there. That Quick's going to give you a chance to win, and that's exactly what happened here. Really, the thing, though, is that the Rangers did not play well. First 2 periods was awful. The fact that the Rangers were up 3-0 into 2 is one of the more misleading scores you'll ever see. It could have been the Rangers could have been down by 3, end of 2, very easily. So Rangers are done in the season series with the Red Wings, which is kind of unfortunate. They've had a lot of good success against Detroit. But yeah, now the Rangers, they took all 6 points against the Red Wings, went 3-0, and Detroit picked up no points in those 3 games. So, and the Red Wings, I still think they'll be a bubble type team in the East. Nothing more than that, but they came very close last year to making it. We'll see this year. Definitely a team that's on the rise, but yeah, good to get the win. But I think Peter Laviolette understands as well that this was not exactly a well played game. But in the third period, things did level out a bit. They played okay in that period, but to be fair, the whole thing could have been different. Because they're up 3-0, it kind of put them in a position where they played a little bit smarter. Didn't do as many reckless things, but still concerns for me in the long run. And that's what it's all about. Because, look, in the regular season, you can never be too sure about anything, but I think that this Ranger team is certainly more than capable of qualifying for the playoffs. Look, you're only 13 games in, but it's safe to say that is something that even when they're not playing well, they still find their way to get points. But look, I think that last year's version, by and large, was playing a smarter brand of hockey. It's not so much you could argue that this roster in some ways, I guess the forwards specifically, it might be a better roster forwards wise. The defense, the fact they didn't make changes, I think it's going to come back to bite them. That's a weakness on this team. No question. And what's interesting is now Victor Mancini has been a healthy scratch in 3 straight games now? I think it's 3. So, and you're not taking Zach Jones out of the lineup. Another Zach Jones, again, with a pretty quality game. He had a nice assist. Well, I guess it was a secondary assist, but he kind of started the play on goal 2 for the Rangers, which is a goal by the 4th line. But yeah, you're not taking him out, but they don't have the courage to take anyone else out. That's the problem here. And that's why I don't think this is going to work in the long run. I think that if Jones plays well enough, you're going to have to send Mancini down. That's obvious. But I know that they don't want to do that if they can avoid it. But that comes at the expense of Jones. So again, that's my concern is still with these D pairs, Lindgren with Fox, Miller with Trouba. The amount of ice time they get as well is not great. I think Jones and Schneider both deserve to play more than they do. Let me see some of the ice times here. And it can be misleading. Look, 16 minutes a piece for Schneider and Jones, which is okay, but it's nowhere close to the other 4. Jacob Trouba playing 23 minutes. That is insane. That is totally insane. That he would log the most minutes among the defensemen. I just don't really quite understand that, but I'll digress for now, but it is definitely something that I'm going to be hammering home, I think, for a lot of the season. I just think that it is the problem is they're not going to really be making any drastic changes, but for the forwards, the lines for the most part, went back to what they kind of originally were. Fourth line unchanged. And I really do like that fourth line overall. I'll just say that straight out here. So, Carrick centering Edge and Vesey has been a very quality line that isn't hurting you defensively and is chipping in with goals every now and then. And in this case tonight, it was Jimmy Vesey who would score a goal, his first goal of the season in his third game played. Um, Third line, they went back to the Heedle, Cooley Kako unit, which was quiet, to be fair, in this one. They didn't really get a whole lot going, but of course, they had been unbelievable for the large part of the season. And then for the most part, it was weird. Like, it was changing. The game started out with Zibanejad centering Panarin and Lafreniere and Trocheck centering Kreider and Smith, which is what we saw for the most part, but there were times when Mika and Trocheck swapped. So that's just one thing to keep an eye on. I don't mind that trio for both. You can make the case for both because, again, I do like the idea of Kreider and Zibanejad on different lines. I also understand, though, that your most dynamic trio, I believe, is Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere. And so you do take away from that a little bit, but I must say, I don't. In some ways, it kind of balances things out in a weird way. Because Kreider, Trocheck, Smith, I do see some potential with that, line, but we'll see. It's very fluid, and I expect things to change kind of across the board. It doesn't feel like we're at a point where they feel totally comfortable sticking with anything other than really the fourth line. I think everything else has the potential to be moved around, but we'll see. So for the Red Wings, they were coming off of a loss the night before to the Maple Leafs. So second game of back-to-back to them, you really wouldn't know it. Honestly, they really were the team that had much more jump from the outset. And in net for the Red Wings was Ville Husso, the former St. Louis Blue. He wasn't tested much. Honestly, the goals he allowed were not really bad ones. It wasn't like it was his fault, but he is someone, I believe he's their third string because they have Cam Talbot, Alex Line, and I think, he's their third goalie that they called up. So Quick was unbelievable. Like, he was 37 saves on 37 shots. Actually, don't even do it justice. Like, it was that good. Wasn't one of those things where, just like the Red Wings just took tons of shots from the outside. Sometimes, like, for example, like Carolina, you'll see where the shot totals will be crazy for them, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that it was high quality. For Detroit, they had chance after chance after chance. The good thing was, because the Red Wings actually do have a pretty good power play. They do. I think it's ranked 7th in the league. Obviously, the Rangers had the number 1 penalty kill unit. Only 2 power plays for the Red Wings, so that was good to keep them away from that. And the Rangers, they score power play goals. So that's the thing. That is the bread and butter for the Rangers is, taking advantage of special teams, and they did do that in this game. Again, it's goaltending and it's special teams, which has been a theme for the Rangers in the last, really specific. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but I guess since Gerard Gallant came in, and therefore at that point, the Rangers became like a playoff team. And though, I'm thinking about those years specifically, that's been a thing. I would say that last year it wasn't as much of a thing. It felt like, but here we are. So kind of first period, somewhat low event. Like, Red Wings outshot the Rangers 8-6. The second period was a really bad period for the Rangers. That was the period of the long change. And that one was really, really bad, where the Red Wings outshot the Rangers 19-8. First period wasn't great either. Not as bad as period 2, but like, Red Wings got the better of the play. I'll also say this, and this has probably been stated previously because this is, again, the third time playing the Red Wings this season. There's just so many former Rangers on this team, and ones like recent ones, like trade deadline acquisition ones in a lot of cases. Tarasenko, Tyler Mott, Andrew Kopp, Patrick Kane, Eric Gustafson. So definitely a lot there. But first period, like I said, Jonathan Quick was making grade A saves, really from puck drop. But at 13:06, Mika Zibanejad is tripped, and the Rangers win the faceoff and score, and it's Chris Kreider with his patented tip in front of the net, in front of Ville Husso. His 8th goal of the season from Fox and Panarin. So Adam Fox takes a slap shot from the point, and it goes off a Kreider and in. That's his specialty, parking his ass in front of the net and, making it tough on the goalie, and that's what he does. So Kreider, 8 goals. And here's the funny thing. Chris Kreider, 8 goals and no assists for him. So one of those years where it's kind of funny, like last year, he recorded 36 assists, which was way more than normal. Kreider is typically a player, and he's pretty much, and looking at it now, for most of his career, he is one that gets more goals than assists. Not always. Like early in his career, not as much, but, certainly in the last, 5 or 6, at least. But yeah, 8 goals, no assists is kind of interesting. On the flip side, Adam Fox, he actually has no goals and 10 assists. So Fox, who last year scored a lot more goals than we're used to, kind of more back on the assist wave now. And another point for Artemi Panarin there as well. So that makes it 1-0 Rangers, kind of, again, going against the flow of play. Red Wings then take another penalty. JT Compher trips Ryan Lindgren at 14:17, but this one, which was the last Ranger power play of the night, they didn't get another one. Red Wings do a good job on this one. Rangers didn't really get much opportunity. So the Rangers would have a 1-0 lead going into the second, and this is where Quick gets to work. Like I said, Rangers outshot 19-8, which is, again, just so disappointing based on the previous play, and specifically the Sabre game. Losing that 6-1, it was Jonathan Quick who didn't even, well, I guess he did come in relief in that game, but one of the few people that wasn't at fault in that one was the big reason why the Rangers won this game. But the Rangers get a pretty big penalty kill at 10:28. Ryan Lindgren, high 6 Christian Fischer. And this was a penalty that was taken after a few turnovers. I think Adam Fox might have just turned it over right before that. Rangers had a tough time getting the puck out of the zone. And again, that goes back to, that's a full team thing, but it's a lot of the defensemen as well that just are not adept at making that, savvy sort of play to get it out of the zone, or making a tape-to-tape pass, or showing a little bit of mobility. Like, it's a problem. But the Rangers do kill it off. And then this was the big moment. The Rangers, within 48 seconds, pick up 2 big goals. And it's the fourth line that gets the first of it, and it's Jimmy Vesey with his first goal of the season from Carrick and Zach Jones. Really nice play by Zach Jones to get the puck. I don't know if I'd call it a turnover, but an aggressive play by him to pinch in, wraps it behind the net to Carrick, and Carrick finds Vesey open right in the middle, and he buries it. So again, really good job by Zach Jones. Sam Carrick, very much under the radar. I haven't had a problem with him. I really haven't. That's one of those signings where the Rangers have made in the past, because it was a 3-year deal, and it's like, why did the Rangers do this? So far, I think he's fit in seamlessly, and it's good to see Jimmy Vesey get on the score sheet. So that makes it 2-0, and then, which was this goal here, I think, took the wind out of the Red Wings sails completely. It was Artemi Panarin scoring his 10th goal of the season from Zibanejad and Lafreniere. So this one kind of looked a little bit similar to the Vesey goal, a bit of a cycle play. Lafreniere is able to rim it around, finds Zibanejad behind the net. He curls, finds Panarin, and a really nice wrist shot by Panarin to score to make it 3-0. So, good stuff there. Look, I don't think that line has been great with Mika on it, but you get a goal like that, and it certainly helps. So that makes it 3-0 Rangers, and that's the score going to the third. And I thought the Rangers settled down in the third period. It's not as if they got much going, and you'd kind of expect that in a 3-0 game. But look, shots on goal were 10-10. They knew that they dodged a bill going to the third, and at least they didn't. At least they kind of nipped it right there. Rangers did call off one more penalty. They only took 2 penalties on the night. Jacob Trouba, who we're accustomed to going to the box, he trips Ben Sherratt at 11:50, but the Rangers do get the job done, don't allow a power play go to the Red Wings. And then eventually later on, after a long delay, there was an icing against the Rangers. The Red Wings pulled their goalie, and they were trying to figure out who were the right players to be on the ice for the Rangers. So it ended up being a situation where actually there was no centerman on the ice. I think it ended up being like Riley Smith, Chris Kreider, and Will Cooley. Ultimately, Riley Smith scores an empty net goal. His third goal of the season, assisted by Adam Fox. So give Adam Fox 11 assists on the year. And the Rangers win it 4-0. So Jonathan Quick, like I said, a 37 save shutout for him. Got to feel good about the Ranger goaltending. Sans the last Sabre game by Igor, but really that is the strong point of this Ranger team is goaltending, and it's been that way for many, many, many years. So now, really interesting test of the Rangers. They go home for a quick two-game homestand, if you will. And it's funny. One of the games is the best team in the league. And then the other game is probably the worst team in the league, I would have to say. Although actually that team, the Sharks, has actually been not so bad lately. But anyway, Winnipeg is what I want to talk about. The Winnipeg Jets are 14-1 on the season, which is insane. 14-1. They are coming off of a very impressive win against the Dallas Stars. They're 6-0 on the road. They have a goal differential of plus 36, which is 14 goals better than the next best, which is Carolina. Like, Winnipeg has been as good as you could be. So I'm interested in seeing what happens. You can't feel, look, let's be honest, you can't feel really confident in this one, but I hope the Rangers can raise their level of play. I believe that they're capable of that. Although, look, the Florida Panther game, I go back to that one. That was disappointing. They didn't raise their level of play in that one. So I don't know that they will do it. I've seen it in the past from this crew, but it'd be nice to give Winnipeg a loss. Again, it's not as if they're 15-0, but they're 14-1. I mean, that you don't see that too often. Getting 28 points out of a possible 30 is awfully impressive. So we'll see what comes of that game. A very good measuring stick, litmus test sort of matchup for the New York Rangers, where you would expect Igor Shesterkin to, in all likelihood, be back in net for the Rangers. But at least the Rangers are able to win. Wasn't pretty at all. Jonathan Quick is the star. And the Rangers go to Detroit. They finish off the season series. They win all three against Detroit. And this one they win by a score of 4-0. And now they will head back home to take on the red-hot Winnipeg Jets.